Recording.
Hello, everyone. We have a very, very special guest. And, I must say it's been about a year since I've met this individual, and it's kind of come full circle. And I'm very excited to have him on today, all the way from Germany. So Dr. Carter is a Harvard Senior Executive Fellow, TEDx speaker, author, mentor, public speaker, adjunct professor, a scholarly peer reviewer, DEI advocate, and just a leader overall. We are very excited to have him on today, Dr. Carter.
Yes, good morning or good afternoon, ladies, depending upon your geographic location.
I just would like to add for everyone that's watching that he has promised the best episode yet today. And considering that we've been chatting for about 15 minutes, I wish we would have pressed record 15 minutes ago, quite honestly.
I know, as the French say, it would be le premier.
Le premier. Dr. Carter, can I call you Stephen?
Sure, my mom liked it,
Okay.
It's good with me.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, she liked it. She thought it was cool, If she liked it, everybody else should like it.
Could you tell us a little bit about what being a Chief Business Officer for U.S. Africa Command means?
Actually, that is a big title. It's a little title for a lot of work. I am the Chief Business Officer for the AFRICOM J6, which means I work directly for the Office of the Chief Information Officer of the United States Africa Command, which is a massive job, especially in this modern 21st century environment, which is technology based. It absolutely rides on technology, whether that is the adoption, the integration, or the implementation of IT assets, both across the 53 country area of responsibility for Africa, or even back at home station, or as we like to say, on campus, providing internet or connectivity services and products to help people do their job. So what I primarily do is I manage all of the human capital resources. I manage all of the contracts. I manage all of the portfolios, which include all programs and IT projects. And I also manage all of the IT assets for the United States Africa Command.
Okay. Whoa, that's a big one.
Nothing at all. It just sits back.
Just another day.
Just another day. Okay, so let's kick this off. As usual, for our new viewers, we're not going to be re-recording, so there are no editing opportunities for this. We're calling this our February Valentine's Day special, since we have a nice, lovely heart around. So I'm very excited about that, quite frankly. But, okay, so we're going to ask a first random question, and then we're probably going to ask a second, maybe a third. I don't know. We're going to see.
Fourth, fifth.
I'm going to try. We're going to try really hard to keep it simple.
Okay, perfect.
All right, let's see what we got here. I don't know. Okay, fine. I'm gonna say it because I have to. But okay, what specific areas of technology are you most interested in or passionate about?
Only one primarily.
Ooh.
Only one. And once I say it, you'll understand why.
Okay.
I am most concerned with functional IT.
Okay.
So I'll tell you a short story. I was sitting in the office one day, or I was actually leading this global meeting. So I had people in the meeting from Italy, from Belgium, from the U.S., from Poland, from all over. And so I was asked this very same question. And it says, well, what IT do you do? I said, I do functional IT, because functional IT is what enables the workforce to do the work. So imagine this. Imagine I give you a nice, shiny, brand new toy, and I call it M365 or O365. But I never show you how to use it. What are you going to do? You're going to retreat to habits of old, which are more than likely predicated upon 20th century paradigms. even though we live in the 21st century.
Okay.
And allow me to amplify that even further. We have this strange dichotomy in the workforce where when we go to work, we hop in the Wayback Machine and we use archaic techniques to collaborate and communicate and coordinate. But as soon as we walk out of the building, we get on our iPhone and we go to apps, we check our banking, we use them as garage door openers, remote control TVs, check our kids' grades, check our bank accounts, we deposit checks, we withdraw money, we do everything in a 21st century modern setting as soon as we leave the office. But as soon as we come in the office, we forget about all of that. And the first thing we say is, let me send this email or let me check this email.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What do you think are some of the most interesting functional technologies out there today that you have your eye on?
Oh, I am a strong advocate for AI. That is probably the greatest and most significant tool that has come around since the advent of the internet itself for work purposes in '95. So let me give you a brief example. So you already know I'm an educator. I teach at two different schools. I teach one is a college and one is a university. Both have two very different focuses. Both have two very different s- types of student body. Okay. And for years, I've been teaching for over a decade. And we have been complaining as faculty that we don't make enough money, we have too much work, and we need a teacher's assistant. We know only two things are ever going to be true about school. You'll always get more students and more work, and you'll get nominal pay and no assistance.
Mm.
We know these things to be true, and they will be true henceforth and forevermore. But now, lo and behold, we have an assistant that
Mm.
costs us nothing, but can do 70% of the work. Everything from grading papers to designing the course curriculum, to developing the course syllabus, to placing students in groups for group activities. And what's even better is there are different types of teaching and learning models. You can tailor your educational delivery to whatever educational and learning model that you desire simply by asking the AI tool to create with this desired outcome. And this happens in not in a minute, not in 60 seconds, not in 45 seconds. We're talking 10 to 15 seconds. You have a full curriculum for an
Mhm.
8 to 16-week course. That is phenomenal.
So
Imagine if we tried to pay someone to do that.
let me pull a question away from technology now, because the piece of technology that you're most interested would be functional, so people can get their work done. But the meeting that you were describing is actually wildly complex. You had people from
Absolutely.
Italy, you have people from all over the world, right? Where at some point technology doesn't even matter because it's cultural differences, it's language barriers, it's thought process differences. They're going to go take breaks differently. They're going to go to sleep at different times. They eat dinner at different times. How do you make a meeting functional and get things done, stripping out technology when dealing with so many different kinds of people?
You know, I think that's a great question, but this particular meeting wasn't that type of meeting. It was all U.S. determining how they're going to deliver services and products in those respective countries, which once again is still it's on the same highway as the question you asked, but just in a different lane.
Okay.
Now, prior to that, I used to run a global, another global event, but we used to do it every year on the African continent. So I did it each year in a different country. So I did it one year in Madagascar, did it one year in Botswana, did it one year in Malawi. Um, but what I did was I brought together delegates from all of the African partner nations to include the UN, the African Union, all of the economic communities such as ECOWAS and ECAS, which is the economic communities of Western Africa and the economic communities of Central Africa. And of course, you bring over people from the U.S. as well, from the State Department, from NGOs. You bring all these people together to talk about cyber strategy and to talk about humanitarian assistance, disaster relief, and how we can develop IT strategy and cyber strategy, which also talks about risk mitigation
Yeah.
to deliver and support humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. So
That's
now to your point, in running this event, the one thing I had to consider is these are 45 different countries that are coming together. They have a shared problem, but they have varying cultures, traditions, practices, languages. So how you do that is you must stay unified on the things that you all agree on, number one, and you must stay unified on the common objectives because we all have common and shared objectives. For example, if you're married or if you're with child and you know other people who are married or with child, guess what? They all want the same outcome. They want their kids to go to a good school.
Yeah.
They want them to have healthy meals. They want them to get a great education and be great productive citizens. We all want the same thing. That's where we have to stay focused. So back to your point, where the conflict and controversy and unreadiness resides is when we all start to hop into a different lane and we decide we want to drive in a different location, take a different path other than the common shared objectives.
Is that
You'll
more
see
like
that
an opinion? Like you start bringing an opinion and then you get off of the objective? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Well, opinion is one. Opinion is one, and then there's agendas. So what we're going to do in this conversation, ladies, we're going to keep it real from start to finish. So we know that in every meeting, there is what's on the paper. That's the agenda you see. And then there are the other agendas that you don't see. This resides everywhere in the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, in the church, and in your workplace. It is everywhere.
So I had the chance to work at the UN briefly, straight out of college in Italy. Not briefly, for a little over a year, but it was fascinating to watch exactly what you're saying, right? There's the meeting that happens on the record, and there are meetings that happen during the breaks. And that was fascinating to watch who was getting together, who was talking to discuss and collaborating or whatnot, and then coming back to the table. It's fascinating. And that happens in
So
every life. That happens in your family environment.
absolutely.
That happens with your friend. I mean, I have a group chat with my mother and sisters, and after there's comments, there's a side group chat with just the sisters. It
Oh, you
happens
better believe it.
everywhere.
Yeah.
I will tell you, ladies, one of the most gangster organizations I have ever seen, ever, is the PTSA.
Yes.
Hey, those moms, and let me tell you something. What they say is going to get done is going to get done. But the decision wasn't made during the PTSA meeting. The decision was made when a couple of ladies met for a coffee or a tea
Yeah.
and some muffins.
Yeah, sidebar.
All the decisions were made.
Yeah.
So when you get to the PTSA meeting, all that other stuff is chatter.
So from what I'm learning in this conversation is, one, if we look at the technology side of things, for those in the technology field trying to bring in new technologies, really focus on the adoption of bringing some of those new technologies, or else it's going to kind of go to waste, right? Because folks are just going to continue doing what they already know how to do, and you're going to lose it, and they're going to be less functional or productive in that sense. And the other piece that I'm hearing, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, think about it, DEA. Use this acronym DEA. So you have the adoption, you have the education, and you have the diffusion.
Yeah.
So to your point, the technology, yes. And I think you ladies know the old saying, culture eats technology for lunch every day.
Yeah.
So
love
since I actually teach this at both the graduate and undergraduate levels, organizational management, how you make change and how you bring about change in the organization is with DEA.
Yeah.
There is the adoption. And as soon as you adopt it, you have to educate your workforce, because if you don't educate them, they're going to retreat to whatever they were doing before, even if it's more painful for them. they will continue to do it just because they don't know any different.
Mm-hmm.
And then the diffusion, it can't be in pockets. You can't have a pocket of excellence. So you can't have a finance department that's firing on all cylinders, that's using Power BI and is fully data centric. But you have an HR department, hey, that still might as well be on the typewriter,
Yeah.
typing in DOS.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't afford to have pockets of excellence. You need to have diffusion across the entire organization.
Okay. And so that's from the technology side, but then the other piece, which I find equally as important and interesting, is the dynamics of a meeting in which everyone's coming with different perspectives and agendas, and we strip away the technology piece, right? And we're just talking about the human connection. Is trying to find what is the mission between everyone, what's the one common objective, and keeping an eye out for the hidden agendas that we're not seeing, right? Staying ahead of that, and kind of maybe even trying to mitigate it so that we stay focused on what's really at hand, what's really important.
I think that is so important. And it's so funny you mentioned that. I feel like that's a softball question you gave me. Because I just did a workshop with a group of about 1,000 ladies last year. And the workshop came from one of my business articles that I wrote, which is titled How to Conduct Truly Effective Meetings. So I've actually written about this. I've written about this, and it's a very simple formula. So for example, and we'll get into this later, but I had a mentor once, and he said to me, whenever you have a meeting, make sure everyone leaves with a task, because if you ask for nothing, that is exactly what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So now there are people who will be in the meeting who are just coming to, as the young people say, coming to ear hustle. They just want to be in the know. They just want to hear. You have to get rid of them. They don't belong in the meeting. Only contributing members, because that means their voice is going to move the needle, it's going to move toward action. And everyone in the meeting has to leave with a task that has a very clear suspense. So what we call this the SMART technique. So whatever you give them has to be specific.
Yeah.
It has to be measurable. It has to be achievable. It has to be relatable to the mission, and then or to the task. And of course, it has to be time-based. It can't be, hey, I want you to do this, and you walk away. Hey, I need this in 45 days, or this needs to be done in 30 days, or this needs to be done by Friday. So what this does is, this is what keeps the momentum after the meeting. Because as you all know, many of us lurch from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting. And everything in the first meeting gets lost by the second or third meeting.
Yeah.
So in order to keep the momentum going for each meeting, there has to be some associated task that each person leaves with. But I highly suggest you read the article, though. You'll get more.
Oh yeah, I wrote it down. I actually have a group of women in technology, and we've been actually talking about effective meetings. So I'm going to find it and send it over to them. Stephen, I've learned so much. Kelly, do you want to add something?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just think that overall, like, we're in this, I mean, whether you're in the US or whether you're in a different country, and whether you're interacting with the same or different minded individuals, we all have, like, we have to follow the common objective. We know that there's going to be sidebar conversations that maybe sometimes that's where some of the tasks get done. And then you find your most, I guess, your strongest links. Like, maybe if those people are the ones getting the things done in the meeting, then maybe then the group goes from 10 to 5, because those are the people that are going to be most effective and actually get you to solving your objective and then moving along. So, Stephen, it was an absolute pleasure talking with you. And maybe I'll see you in Germany soon.
I hope so. I will tell you, we have plenty of beer, so please come over, and the wine is great. And there's no shortage of that either. So you're both always welcome. And before we go, I want to wish both of you ladies the most heartfelt Valentine's Day wishes. And may you have a lot of chocolate, so much that you get cavities, and so many flowers that you grow a green thumb.
Oh.
All right. Well, I guess this is it for this episode.